Welcome to the Jaguar Journey podcast. I'm your host, Peter Judge, and along with Frosh, we're thrilled to be here today for our very first episode.
Today, we're excited to share some fantastic news with our listeners. Peter and I have been working tirelessly on a new mentorship program that we believe will make a profound impact on the lives of our students here at GovState. But before we dive into the details of our program, we'd like to take a moment to introduce ourselves.
As mentioned, I'm Peter Judge, and I serve as the Internship and Employer Relations Coordinator within the College of Business. My background is in admissions and recruitment, and I've had the privilege of working with students from various backgrounds and disciplines to help them achieve their academic and professional goals. I myself am a GovState alum, graduating with my bachelor's degree in communication in 2018, and I will be completing my master's degree in HR management this summer.
And I'm Frosh, your co-host and Director of Academic Services here at GovState. My passion lies in supporting students in their professional and personal development, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this new mentorship initiative.
Together, we recognize the importance of mentorship in the success of students in higher education. Mentorship provides guidance, support, and inspiration to help students navigate the challenges they face both inside and outside the classroom.
Absolutely, Peter. Mentorship isn't just about sharing knowledge and advice. It's about fostering meaningful relationships that empower students to reach their full potential. It's about providing a safe space for students to ask questions, explore ideas, and discover their passions.
That's right. And with our new mentorship program, we aim to connect students with experienced professionals who can offer valuable insights, encouragement, and mentorship. Whether it's navigating career paths, exploring academic interests, or even overcoming personal challenges, our mentors will be there every step of the way.
Our goal is to create a supportive community where students feel empowered to pursue their dreams and achieve their goals. We believe that by investing in mentorship, we can inspire the next generation of leaders, innovators, and change makers.
Absolutely. Mentorship is a powerful tool for personal and professional growth, and we're excited to see the positive impact it will have on our students here at GovState.
So, if you're a student looking for guidance and support, or if you're interested in becoming a mentor and making a difference in someone's life, we encourage you to reach out to us and get involved in our mentorship program.
Together, we can make a difference one mentorship at a time.
Welcome back, listeners. We've laid down the groundwork, shedding light on our theme for today's episode. Now, let's dive deep into the topic of mentorship with an enriching conversation. And who better to guide us through the intricacies of mentorship than a true advocate for growth and development?
As we transition to our interview segment, it's with great pleasure that we introduce our esteemed guest, Will Davis. Serving as the Vice President of External Affairs and the Chief Executive Officer of the GovState Foundation, Will's passion for fostering talent and nurturing potential is unmatched.
Join us as we embark on a journey into the realm of mentorship with Will, exploring transformative power of guidance, support, and shared wisdom. Get ready for an insightful discussion that promises to illuminate the path towards personal and professional growth. Stay tuned. One of the things that I think is so important is the organic relationship that mentors and mentees have that come from just finding each other, finding the person that fits for you, instead of just, being forced into this relationship that neither of you really want. Mm-hmm. Have you had that experience, or was that more?
I think it's a both and. So I think you have to be more sophisticated for organic relationships, and or the mentor has to be more persistent. And then they have enough vested interest in you to pursue you and to tell you, hey, you need me because you have a lot of potential. And so I think that's where either you have to be really, the mentee has to be very sophisticated in order to do an organic relationship. But that's where I like mentorship programs that push people to sometimes not in their comfort zone. Like it's a stranger, they're usually going to be older, and then they're going to tell me what to do. Whatever the misconceptions or bad experiences people have or heard of in those mentorship programs, that force is usually, typically, I would say, always better than not being in those relationships. Because they could tell you what you don't know, and I'm far from in my 20s, but sometimes I think I know it all. But I know it all to the point that I know I don't know it all. And so that's why I try to be more, even as a leader, be more open to listening to those that I lead, so that I can really understand the situation and scenarios. And one of the things I would share that is when I was an undergrad, we had college fairs, career fairs, and Arthur Anderson used to always try to wave me over to the table. And I always used to say, no thanks, I don't want to be a bean counter. And that kind of gives you a barometer of where I was as a senior, graduating senior even. Because obviously they had more opportunities than being accountants. But I just walked past that opportunity. Who knows what Will Davis would be now if that conversation had taken place. I like where I am now, so don't get it wrong. But what I'm saying is that if I would have had someone as a student to say, go talk to every table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go talk to every table. You don't know what you don't know. And your program that you graduate from necessarily might not sound the same in the career that you choose. But you could probably use the same skill set you learned in the classroom as you mature through. I hope that answers your question.
No, that's great. And that's great advice, I think, for anyone in life, not just our students, but wherever they may be, even for our mentors that are coming up in that place in their position where they're at, they may be missing things because they're not thinking outside of the box.
Right.
Right. And I think part of the reason that people, like students, might be a little bit apprehensive about getting a mentor is because it's almost that piece of networking. Yes. And I think that that's what students sometimes, it is, it can be scary. And I would say, what do you give advice for students as far as networking and how to get more comfortable with that?
And I think you two might know is in my role with dealing with alumni, I shared with my team, let's try to make our jobs a little bit easier and let's engage our current students too. Because one day they will be alums. Absolutely. And I don't want to start the relationship after they cross the stage. Right. It should be actually why they're being recruited and they're enrolled to come to the university. But throughout that journey, let's build relationships over time. And then let's help them with mentoring and networking opportunities from our alumni base, so they could talk to people who had traveled the road before them, and and have them. So we had a graduate assistant, and I wanted her to help make this networking event happen. I wanted her to grab these current students. I was going to grab the leadership team from the university and others who were just willing. And we just go down there, have some cookies and water and coffee, whatever. And, I could just tell from expression every time we talked about it that, she was not loving it. And I was like, what is going on? And where's the enthusiasm? We're going to help people make connections that will help their career, help them post-graduation. And she's like, networking on it, it's just so awkward. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, it is awkward. It's even awkward for me sometimes. It is my job, because sometimes you have to feel it, and sometimes you don't, but you have to do it and do it well. It's always going to be awkward. I go, and she goes, well, everybody feels awkward. No one wants to do it because, they don't know what to say. I go, this is what we do. We will name the event the Socially Awkward Hour. Mm-hmm. And she's like, look, we're going to give people permission to be awkward.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The normative in the room is for you to be awkward. Okay, everybody, we level set. Now let's, pursue down the lane of providing these excellence opportunities for our students to practice being awkward and still being successful in the conversation. To be apprehensive, but to be able to walk away with something tangible that can help their personal or professional careers down the road. that first job is usually the job where they want to know your GPA and if you have letter of references. So who's your reference going to be?
Right.
Can't
coming
be
out of
your
college,
mom.
can't be your parents, can't be your sibling.
Right.
It might usually end up being the same people who reference them into the college or university they attended, right? And so, but here's the opportunity. But also, if you could get the people that are part of what you want to do. So if you want to be in accounting, finance, economics, being able to socialize with somebody in that arena helps you maybe with that first job, second job, or that job 3 years later. So it's going to be awkward. It's okay to be awkward. And yes, you'll probably misspeak and all those things, but laugh at it. Laugh at it. It could probably, if you laugh at yourself, the person will laugh with you. And that usually is the beginning of relationships.
Yeah, and that's definitely can break the ice if you can laugh at yourself.
Right.
And it doesn't mean if a conversation, I feel like, starts out awkward or you're maybe uncomfortable with it, it doesn't have to end that way. Like that doesn't have to be the full conversation. Like you can correct that and still have a meaningful connection.
That's right.
So we've talked a little bit about networking. We've talked a little bit about mentoring. What I would like to know from your perspective, what key aspects of the mentorship relationship are important for our students to really be seeking out? What should they want to get out of this?
That's a good question, because sometimes if they're new to mentorship, they don't know what they're supposed to get out of it. There's probably a lot of assumptions. Like I was saying earlier, they're going to tell me what to do. They're going to be able to, it's always going to be like another parent type of deal, and all those type of things. And one of the things I always told my mentees, hey, you got to bring something to the table. Okay, I should learn something from you. Okay, so obviously you want to learn what I know. I'm willing to share that. I'm willing to make connections and opportunities and whatever how I could help you. But I also want something. So as I mature in my life, I might not still be as in tune with either technology or the social media. I mean, because of my role, I do have to, be attuned to the social media, all those things. But I'm using that as an example. And you're really good at that, or you are of that generation or demographic that, you could use your phone to do anything in the world. I want to learn a little bit about that. So bring that to me. But whatever you have, bring to me. And that's not a barrier. That's not a hard no if, I don't see those things. But bring yourself. Yes, come be prepared to listen. But me as a mentor, and maybe I'm more talking about my mentorship style, and maybe it might be good for some other mentors if they haven't thought about it, is to be a listener. So, both parties have to be listeners and willing participants to listen and to be honest with each other too, right? So, if you have a mentor and they're really not helping you, then you got to be honest. If you have so I do have a pet peeve. Sometimes it's within the mentorship, but also could be a factor of whether or not I mentor people. But it's one of those things that even as an advisor, sometimes people call you up for advice or the mentorship advice. You give the advice. They don't follow the advice.
No.
And then they call you back asking you for advice.
Yeah.
And it's the same situation or the same scenario. Or, okay, I shared with you what I thought. You went opposite field. Now you're in this situation. Now you're back. Okay, I'm okay because I've learned by bumping my head many times. So, I'm not going to cast people out. It's the repetitiveness of it, though. If there's a pattern of,
Right.
you know what, obviously what I'm saying to you is not resonate with you or not something you want to do, fine. can still be friends.
Right.
But this formal mentorship is going to have to end. So you both have to be good listeners. You both have to understand what the objectives are of each. How can I help you? How can I help you help you? How can I open your eyes to other things that you might not have seen and contribute? So I hope that answers your question.
No, that's great. That's, I think, great for everyone.
No, but I do think that that's good for students to know is like it goes both ways of the relationship. So it's if they have to ask for what they need, and then also it's you have to come to the, like you said, come to the table with something, because I think if you want a mentor, you have to be ready to have the mentor. Like you have to be in that mindset to have them.
I have 3 mentees, and I think, and I joke that I'm the worst mentor in the world because I don't check on them. But they don't ask for it either. So I think there's this line of it does have to go both ways. I check on you, you didn't respond. I can't just keep checking on you every time. So, I lack in that area, and that's something that I think as this program progresses, that's a good learning experience for me, especially to hear this from you. I think, we look and we say how we want the students to act, but also how we want the mentors to act. We want them to be worthy of our students. And that's, I think, very important too.
And you know what, also from my perceptions, there's different roles. So mentorship is defined, and then you could be a coach. Coach could come in and out. Advisors could come in and out. I've had many advisors in my life as well, where people like, here's this particular situation, and I felt like they would be the best person to advise me in those situations, rather this person professionally. And as that person a mentor, in the loosest terms, you could put that in there. But as a advisor, a coach, or just different positions that you could play and just be available. So that's where I'm kind of am right now. I don't have an active mentorship with anyone right now, but I get phone calls, I get text messages, and so I just like, okay, that's what they need from me, and is sometimes it's from former formal mentees, and sometimes it's just other people that I have engaged. So it could be different roles, and mentorships can have pre and post. So the pre might just be a coach and advisor, then you turn into a formal mentorship, and or the reverse could be the same. Out of the mentorship comes advising, coaching, maybe collegial or peer opportunities down there as well. So mentorship comes into me that form, but it doesn't mean you can't have other outlets of individuals, and or those individuals play different roles.
Now, I know you had mentioned that it took a couple of years before you had your first mentor, but can you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like for you, like having your first mentor and how you met them and kind of about that?
Yeah, sure. So my first 3 jobs, I stayed about an average of 3 years, all of them, and it wasn't I didn't have the opportunity. I just didn't take the opportunity because I didn't know what I didn't know. So Scott Ghoston, actually, he's a great friend and mentor and a brother and a colleague from when I joined the pharmaceutical industry. Scott is actually the recruiter that recruited me into the pharmaceutical industry. And through that process, he was also a trainer for new hires. So he and I just kind of built that relationship he recruited me. So that was kind of a nice relationship building that, hey, thanks for choosing me. In those days, there's like 300 resumes for every job available in the pharmaceutical industry. And hey, thanks for choosing me. This is, great to get in. And then we got to know each other a little bit more through the training. And then we just always kind of checked in. And so it wasn't a formal mentorship. It was like, because he was a seasoned, successful professional in the industry. And, so I was like, hey, I like following those type of people with those characteristics,
Yeah.
And so the more we talked, and he was a manager and I was a rep. He wasn't my manager, but he kept on pouring into me. And then as I rose to the ranks, we eventually became peers. And every time I had a situation, good, better, and different on my team or business, I'll call him up. I'll call him up, and then we just became friends, even though we became peers. But I still call him. Hey, he was a mentor to me, and so that organically came about that way. And then later on, we formalized a mentor program within the pharmaceutical company I was in. So we had a nationwide formal program. I ran it for our region to help put mentees and mentors together, and so that's where, because of that relationship with Scott, and then the fact that I realized what that meant when they rolled out the national mentoring program, I raised my hand like, yeah, I'll help lead that from our area, because I understood what it meant to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody, or someone come over there and pull you in the corner like, hey, let me tell you something. Because you have to, it's not always good news. If you're in a good relationship,
right,
it's not always good news.
And that's important.
But it's very important. I'll tell a story about myself, maybe for students to be aware of. I was working for a company, and we sold equipment and software to banks. And it goes back to when I was sharing earlier with you too, that the restroom I used was in the executive suite. I was in there, and I was young. And I went out to the field to sell from there. So I was working with the executives. They all knew my name. I always knew their name. So, I thought it was really cool. And I went out in the field, and I had a manager, Steve Help, great guy, great manager, great leader. And, probably not even a humble brag. I was doing great. The person I succeeded was a star, and successful and got promoted. Everybody loved him. I came in, my first 2 years, I broke all his records. And so I went in for my performance review with Steve. And, basically, I'm pretty straightforward with this. Exceed all my goals. That's my only comments.
I've been there. I think.
That's successful people. We understand that, right? Yeah. So, I always tell people the longer you write for your performance review, the worse your year was. So anyways, I get in there and you did stellar. But I got to tell you something. I do need you to work on something. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Maybe you need to look at my numbers again. And what he said to me, he goes, look, you're doing great, but you need to go out and buy a new wardrobe. You need new suits. You got to buy some different suits. And I'm just like, I'm like 26, 27 years old. I'm like, what are you kidding me? These are my best Sears Roebucks here, man. And even my socks match my suit. What are you talking about? And, obviously, I didn't have any ego hurt there, too. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, you call on executives of banks and credit unions. Look at your suit and look at their suit. If you're going to be in a room with them, you're going to want a suit. It doesn't have to be as much, but you need it. I was like, all right. And then he goes, I know how much money you're making too, so don't tell me you don't have any money. Go out and buy some suits. And also, think about it, I was like 26 years old, so I had been in my career, so I've been wearing these suits for years. I'm like, and no one has ever told me this, and I've always thought I looked good at my last check in the mirror. And so I went to I worked in Detroit. I came over to Chicago because my then girlfriend, now wife, is here in Chicago. I come over and I tell her, and I'm just like, I'm kind of hurt about that, And we're like, okay, let's go to Marshall Fields and just go to Marshall Fields, buy a couple suits, Come back that following week, I wear them. Everybody makes a comment. My clients, my colleagues, Steve looked at me, kind of laughed and winked at me and walked away. I didn't know. And I was successful
Right.
in
You
all
were
the
doing
parameters.
just fine.
So he didn't have to tell me that.
Yeah.
Because what I earned in the bonus rolled up to him. He didn't have to tell me that. But he did, and I see, that's why I say he's a great leader, because he told me what I really needed to hear.
And he wanted you to do better.
Even that it didn't do directly with the
Yeah.
business. It wasn't prohibiting the business.
Right.
And he wanted me to do better. So, that's how. Steve was my boss, but Coach, that's someone who cares.
Mm-hmm.
And mentor, going back to mentors, you want them to care.
Yeah.
You want them to be vested. You want them to be able to tell you the truth of what could be blocking them from being successful. So I hope that answers.
No, and I think that also, like you said, when they bring it to the table, I think it goes both ways. We've been doing, most of us, this role or a similar role for a very long time, and we forget that we don't know everything, or we see a different perspective. And so these mentees, these students, these peer mentors, for them to say, we're doing something that's not working for them, or what we can do better to serve them better, is what we need to hear too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. And that kind of segues into what I'd like to talk about next a little bit, is the Alumni Association. The Alumni Association. So can you talk why the Alumni Association is so important, and why it's so important for our alumni to get connected back to GovState?
Oh, wow. Thank you for that. For those who might not know, I lead up the alumni relations team, and I'm really happy with how the team is performing these days under the leadership of Ken Gonzalez, who took it over a couple of years. But we have 60,000 alumni at GovState University. You're looking at, of the living alumni, that well over probably about 95 to 97% of them still live within a 50-mile radius of GovState University. You think about what that means. That's downtown Chicago. That's the western suburbs. That is reaching down to past Kankakee and out to western Will County and northwest Indiana. Just think about that metropolitan area. And so if you knew that you had a commonality with someone that's within that area, that you might be able to build a relationship with to enhance yourself personally, professionally, the region, the community, the state, whatever it may be, that's a powerful network that can be realized. So whereas other institutions, they have a much larger alumni base, but they're scattered across the country or the world. Here, it's localized, and that's something I really want to galvanize. That is one of my number one goals, is that if we could get alumni to know each other and build a relationship with each other, and build a collaboration with each other, and see how they could support each other, then that would be so powerful for all of them in this community, region, and state. And so that's what and then take that and then pour it back into current students and prospective students. So that, hey, students, you come through GovState University, you're gonna have access to this powerful network that is localized, and they all walk through these doors. And so that's kind of where I like to start, because I try to be real brief for this. I know he wouldn't mind, but we have an alum, Dr. Curtis Crawford, very successful corporate executive, top of the ranks, very generous donor.
Great friend of COB.
Yep. College of Business scholarships, and he and his wife Gina just named the honors. Very generous, philanthropic, corporate type. And he was being interviewed by a well-known corporate magazine some odd years ago. And the reporter asked him, have you ever regretted not going to a Ivy League school or a more reputable, notable, prominent school? And his response was, well, my education has done me well enough that you're interviewing me today.
No.
And then the reporter said, no, I apologize. I'm not trying to, I didn't mean to offend your education or your educational institution. My point where I was trying to get to, like, if you would have went to Ivy League, the alumni base, you would have had this incredible network that you could have been through and all your success. And Dr. Crawford responded, well, because of the education I do have, and the place that I did go, I am now afforded the opportunity to hire Ivy League students.
Mhm.
So I basically hire my way into their network.
Right.
And the reporter said, oh, I apologize, I understand, and moved on.
Uh-huh.
But now I feel compelled to build that Governor State University, GovState, Jaguar alumni network that reporter was alluding to.
Mhm.
The ability to pick up the phone and call someone else that you could become business partner. I know one College of Business alum on the advisory board, Adam Shorter, met his business partner in grad school. And so to be able to meet people and go into business with them or collaborate with them or just be able to refer back and forth to one another. That's why I'm passionate about building our alumni network. Yes, alums, we do need your donations too. Yes.
Yes, we will always
and
like
we're
that.
willing to earn that. We're not just holding our hand out. We're willing to earn that. We need your help to tell us how we earn that. And we want you to invest in your interest areas back at the university that help make you successful to where you are today. And it is not about a dollar amount. It's about the participation.
Mhm.
Can you imagine if 55,000 people gave something to Governor State University?
Mhm.
And that would propel the university to a different level. The benefit for the alumni is that raises the value of their diploma on the wall. So
Mhm.
when people see that they went to GovState, the better the university is doing, the more continuous respect that they receive. And so alums, we need you to engage, come back, be mentors, be volunteers, advisory board volunteers. The College of Business is killing it. A lot of it, their advisory board members are becoming board of trustee members. Come back, volunteer, tell us that talent you have, experiences. And then we need you to advocate, tell everybody in the world to send their students to Governor State University. Tell your legislators, thank you for supporting Governor State University, and more is better.
We will
and
take
needed.
anything you can give us.
Needed.
Yes.
And then or your organizations to recruit, career fairs, opportunities, internships. And then, yes, we do need donations.
Yes. And I think that that's a big thing, is also talking about, like, we do have a lot of alum that do incredible things, and they
Yes.
are out there doing exceptional things. And I think that sometimes people think, we're small but mighty. We have people that come out and do, like, they're heading up businesses and organizations. And one thing that we do want to talk about is we wanted to ask you if the Alumni Association, if there's any upcoming initiatives or any projects that you guys are working on that our listeners might be interested in.
Yeah, definitely. One of the easy things to do is self-identify. Just start there. Is that we want you to raise your hand and say, I'm a GovState alum, and I want to see opportunities that I might be able to engage. So we'll reach out to you as well, but please reach back in. Contact the Alumni Relations Office or go to our website, update your information so that we know that you want to be counted in the crowd. On July 17th, we'll have a birthday party out Park Forest. is Wednesday, July 17th. We're going to have free activities out there. As an alumni, welcome back. Governor State University returned 55 years old at that time. Come out, celebrate with us. But the special initiatives that we have come out, we do alumni relations. They go to plays, they go to professional games, they and do receptions, and they do a lot of activities. We want you to engage in what you're interested in, so that you have to tell us what you're interested in, so that we can engage you at those different levels. But my main ask and request is come back to the GovState. Come back, reach out to the Alumni Relations Office. We'll figure out a place and space for you. And let's build that network that I was alluding to.
That's great. And I think we've had some really great conversation. I think that wraps our first episode. We want to thank Will Davis for sharing his invaluable time with us here today. I think everything that you've shared is great, not only for our students, but for the alumni as well, and those that can continue to come and give back. We'd also love to see our alumni coming back for another graduate program degree or certificates, or, coming back and volunteering for different initiatives that the student organizations have, days of service, things like that. So we welcome any and all participation. So we want to thank you for sharing your afternoon with us. And anything else you'd like to share before we close for the episode? First of
all, thank you two for trusting me with the first episode. So I know
no one else was going to be first. It was going to be you.
It's going to go uphill from here. Yeah. So so I understand, and that's great. I appreciate you two doing this, being advocates. Your service at Governor State University as employees, and the mission and vision that you have to try to help our students, the College of Business. A lot of people would tell you that you're my favorite college. It might be due to my corporate horns, but
I think he's telling the truth though.
But this is great. Anything we can do to help support, please just reach out. And I'm a big fan and advocate for you all as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Will. And that wraps up our first episode of the Jaguar Journey podcast. We extend our sincerest gratitude to Will Davis for gracing us with his invaluable insights into the world of mentorship.
And as we conclude, we want to express our appreciation to you, our listeners, for joining us on this journey of discovery and learning. Your support and engagement mean the world to us.
And remember, the power of mentorship lies not only in what we receive, but also in what we give. So let's continue to uplift one another, share our knowledge, and inspire greatness in those around us.
Until next time, thank you for tuning in. This is your Jaguar Journey.